What is an outsider doing here? This isn't a place for old-timers like you to just loaf around. The manager, mistaking me for a subcontractor from the main office, started yelling at me when I dared to criticize his extremely impolite behavior. He glared at me with his eyes wide open. I'm the boss here, and it's a busy day with an important board meeting. It's a nuisance having someone like you wandering around the company. You're in the way. Eventually, he ordered an employee nearby to have me forcibly removed. Geez, I didn't expect it to go this far, but if they want me to go home that badly, so be it. What happens to their important meeting is none of my concern. I decided to go back to my country. My name is Gary. I've worked for a major electrical equipment manufacturer for many years. With my experience, I'm almost like an old-timer there. My company has branches all over the world, so I often visit branches in different countries, leading to a life of traveling around the world. Despite the tough days, I find my job very fulfilling, and I'm grateful for my enriching days. During this time, I was scheduled to visit the Japan branch. I had worked at the Japan branch when I was younger, but I was transferred abroad shortly after joining and hadn't had many chances to visit since then. This trip was for work, but I was very excited to be back in Japan for the first time in a long while. I wondered how many years it had been since I last saw everyone I worked so hard with back then. I was looking forward to it. With these thoughts, I arrived. As I walked around the office, reminiscing and peeking into various departments, I felt a sense of nostalgia. The atmosphere in the office hadn't changed, and it felt nostalgic. However, when I tried to greet my former colleagues and subordinates, I found that most of them had either retired or transferred. Feeling a bit down and reflective about the passage of time, I left the sales department I had visited last and started walking towards my original destination. Then I noticed a man walking towards me. He looked at me with a puzzled expression, furrowing his brows as if to say, "What the heck?" I was perplexed about why he was looking at me like that. Glancing at the employee badge hanging from his neck, it read Director of Sales Planning, White. "Hey, you." As we passed each other, this man, White, suddenly called out to me in a rough tone, "What's with you? You're a new face around here." What a rude man, I thought, considering pretending not to notice him, but then I decided to turn around. "Nice to meet you. My name is Gary," I said. Director White scoffed through his nose as if belittling me. "Gary, never heard of you. What is an outsider doing here? This isn't a place for old-timers like you to just loaf around," he shouted disdainfully. The other employees around us were startled by his loud voice and stared at us. "No, I'm not an employee of this branch, but I am here on business today." "Business? You just came out of the sales department, right? You must be some subcontractor here to negotiate a new contract or something." "We don't do sales here," he retorted. It seemed that Director White had mistaken me for an employee of a subcontractor. Nevertheless, my first impression of this man, White, was harsh, considering how he talked to an older person, whether they were a subcontractor or not. "Don't wander around the company like some bottom-tier subcontractor, old man. You're in the way." I've been with this company for many years, but this was the first time I'd been treated this way. With all due respect, perhaps it's better not to speak that way when meeting someone for the first time, even if they are a subcontractor. It seems quite unreasonable and rude. When I voiced my complaint, he just sneered through his nose. What is this man thinking? I wondered. "Ha, you're making me laugh. Who do you think you are, giving me such a lecture? Do you know who I am to talk to me like that?" "No, so there's no need to speak like that." What a noisy old man. Do you even know what day it is? Today is an important board meeting day that I, the director, am managing. It's busy. So what? Does that justify being rude? Having someone like you wander around the company on such a day is a nuisance. You're Anne. I was cut off while still speaking. His fierce demeanor left me speechless, shocked that such a barbaric person could exist in the Japan branch. Hey, you, standing there staring blankly, get this annoying old man out of here now. Yes, sir. Directed by Director White, a large male employee hurried over and grabbed my arm. Hey, wait, stop. And just like that, I was unceremoniously thrown out of the company. Standing there for a while, I just stared blankly at the employee entrance from which I had been expelled. As I was being pushed out, I could hear the whispers of the employees around me. Director White is yelling again. Just leave it be. It's always the Gary. If we get involved, we'll get the backlash too. Exactly. Let sleeping dogs lie. I don't know who that person is, but they've caught the attention of a troublesome one. And White at that, of all people. I could tell that this man, White, had a reputation. But what on earth is happening at the Japan branch? When I was there, it was brimming with lively, talented people. And there surely wasn't anyone as selfish as that. The employees I just saw also seemed scared, as if fearful of something. Then, without accomplishing my original purpose, I wondered what to do next. I left the Japan branch to head to the airport and returned to my base in Germany. Just as I was taking a moment to rest, my phone rang. It was the president of the Japan branch. Hello, this is Gary. President Gary, I'm glad I got through. Where are you right now? Why didn't you attend the board meeting? I'm sorry I couldn't make it. Actually, I did go to the Japan branch. I was walking around the office to greet my colleagues before the board meeting when suddenly I met this man, White, and he started yelling at me. What? What do you mean, President Gary? You met White. From his surprised tone, it seemed he had no idea about what had happened, indicating the incident hadn't become a rumor within the company. He seemed to mistake me for a subcontractor. He told me I was in the way and started raging at me, so I was forcibly removed from the company. I went straight back to Germany. What? President Gary, I am terribly sorry. Even over the phone, I could tell he was deeply bowing his head. I had no idea such a thing had happened, and that I was being so rude. What an irreparable discourtesy. I am truly sorry. No, you shouldn't be the one apologizing for this incident. I can't believe President Gary was subjected to such a situation. I apologize profoundly, though I was unaware. The urgency and regret of the Japan branch president came through over the phone, conveying the gravity of his mistake. But it's understandable why things turned out this way. In fact, I am the president of the German headquarters of this major electrical equipment manufacturer. I moved to the headquarters in Germany at a young age and have gained extensive experience over the years. While working, I learned about the latest knowledge and economics in this industry daily, quietly improving performance, doing the best I could, and making my mark. Even when the management of the German headquarters was in crisis, I managed to turn things around successfully. Of course, I couldn't have done it alone. It was undoubtedly thanks to the employees and colleagues with whom I exchanged opinions, clashed, and honed skills. From there, I gradually got involved in expanding our business worldwide, achieved results, and was able to grow to this point. For these achievements, I was recently appointed as the president of the German headquarters. My visit to the Japan branch this time was to make my inaugural address at the board meeting and to decide on a strategy for strengthening management in Japan as my first initiative as president. From what I've seen, it seems like the situation inside the Japan branch isn't very good. Is there a major problem? Yes, you are right. We currently have a troubling person on our hands. I hate to ask over the phone, but can you tell me about the situation? Well, yes, I'm embarrassed to say, but as you may have noticed, Gary, that man, White, is a person of concern at the Japan branch. The president of the Japan branch confided with a tone that suggested he was quite troubled. And you're saying White acts like an excellent employee in front of me, or those above him. But he's a problematic person. He's somewhat difficult with subordinates and clients. Yes, I felt something was off about him at that time too, but he's indeed a problem child at work. Then, yes, at the board meeting we expected you to attend, White presented an important strategy, which was approved. I see. So that's why Director White was so anxious before the meeting. However, there's suspicion that he's only gathering talented subordinates, forcing them to develop strategies and then presenting them as his own ideas. There's no solid proof, but I've heard such stories. I see. So he's trying to climb the career ladder by claiming others' achievements as his own. Quite a shallow person to be a director at the Japan branch. Yes, White is aiming for an executive position. There are rumors that he's stealing the credit from colleagues and subordinates to build his achievements, but there's no proof. Without intervention, White will undoubtedly be promoted to an executive. He's very calculating. But if that's true, it's a serious issue. There could be complaints and even explosive situations among the staff, which could disrupt the company's discipline. White is the main problem, but I also think the Japan branch president, who had a hunch but did nothing, is at fault. So I reprimand him after telling him that we cannot let this go unchecked. Yes, I have to admit there were faults on my part for not controlling White. I never imagined he would go this far. You said there's no proof. Our first priority should be to thoroughly investigate this man, White, to understand the extent of the truth. If the rumors are true, we'll find solutions together. Understood, President Gary. Thank you. I will closely monitor White and uncover the facts. I ended the call with the president of the Japan branch about a month later. On the day of the Japan branch's board meeting, I landed in Japan again and was in the meeting room at the Japan branch. President Gary, everything is ready, so I'm looking forward to today. It must have been hard to gather all this information. You've done well. Thank you for your efforts. As the executives began to gather for the meeting, White also arrived, seeming very pleased with himself, as if he expected his promotion to be confirmed at today's meeting. White, come over here for a moment, the president of the Japan branch called him. White noticed me, and our eyes met. What? Why is that old man from that time here? Wasn't he a subcontractor? White muttered to himself as he approached. Director White, long time no see. This time, I was able to attend the meeting without being dragged out by you, and it wasn't in vain. Last time, you treated me as a bothersome old man, and I couldn't pretend. White, looking utterly pitiful and confused, seemed to be asking the other executives around for an explanation. Well, calm down. I'm not just some lowly subcontractor old man. It seems you didn't know, but I'm the president of the German headquarters. Understand, Director White. I patted his shoulder lightly. The German headquarters? Are you really? I heard you were Japanese. No way, you're joking, right? White's panic was almost like something out of a drama, and the unaware executives started to murmur among themselves. You treated me quite arrogantly the other day, remember? You told me, an old man, to get out and hurled terrible insults. Hey, what? Not at all. You must be mistaking me for someone else, White stammered, trying to feign ignorance. Don't joke with me. You don't even know my face, and you call yourself the director of the Japan branch? Don't make me laugh. I've had you investigated thoroughly this past month. It seems we have quite a bit to report. You investigated me? I haven't done anything wrong. What is going on? White's voice rose in panic. After that call with me, the president of the Japan branch was ordered to secretly form an investigative team within the company. They thoroughly monitored you, conducting daily interviews with employees to scrutinize your work, words, and actions. I raised my voice for a moment, but reminded myself to stay calm and began reading the report in a composed tone. It seems you've been pushing employees you dislike into dead-end jobs. No, that's not true. You've been spreading false rumors and scheming to make it impossible for them to stay at the company. Some were even harassed into resigning. Who made up such a story? I have no recollection of such things. It's not just the employees who were sidelined at reporting to us. I frowned as I read the characters written in the report. There have been reports of sexual misconduct from female employees. They say you touched their heads when no one was looking, persistently invited them to dinner alone, and when they refused, the harassment began the next day. There are countless incidents. White's facade of composure changed dramatically. Don't joke with me. Who would believe such bluff? I don't remember inviting anyone to dinner, and I'm certainly not desperate enough to hit on any of the women at this company. White protested loudly, sweat forming on his forehead. The people who ended up in dead-end jobs chose that themselves. It wasn't my fault. They were just incompetent. I was appalled that even now, White was still making disparaging remarks about the employees. That's not all. You hardly do any work yourself, pushing it onto your subordinates instead. Because of you, they often have to work overtime. They're not just doing their own jobs, but yours too, and yet. I glared sternly at Director White. You take all the credit for their work. That's a false accusation. Is it really false? I hear that the strategy you submitted and got approved wasn't actually your idea. Don't spout nonsense. That was definitely my plan. I worked on it, sacrificing my sleep. Someone must be jealous of my ideas, holding a grudge, and making up these false reports. But there are more reports of your wrongdoing. It's also come to light that you've been misusing company funds for leisure. Do you still intend to deny it? Hey, give me a break. Misusing funds for leisure. It was business entertainment. It's because everyone else is useless at bringing in business. I had to go and handle it myself. How is that playing around? White began to shout, glaring at everyone in the room as if he was throwing a tantrum. Enough already. You're all talk and a fool who can't do anything. Yet you treat valuable employees and subordinates poorly, pursuing your own selfish interests. You are the real hindrance to this company. Don't mess with me. You have no idea how much I've struggled for this company. The inconvenience I'm suffering from this false accusation is undoubtedly mine. How long do you plan to keep up this facade? It's disgraceful. Just stop it. Here's all the evidence. Everything has been thoroughly investigated. There's no escape for you now. I thrust a stack of reports at White. Watching the reports, I could see his complexion turning increasingly pale. Don't mess with me. When did you research all this? Damn it. All my hard work, White murmured to himself and then collapsed right there. The executives, the president of the Japan branch, and I just watched him in silence. Days later, White's mismanagement and misuse of funds became public knowledge. His dismissal was judged necessary due to his egregious behavior towards employees and subordinates. Leaving the company, the once assertive White had lost all his vigor in just a few days and appeared considerably thinner. What goes around comes around. I sincerely hope that White reflects on this matter and, in a new company, avoids repeating the Gary mistakes, returning to his original intentions and starting anew. Things ended this way, but I believe that White wasn't originally such a self-serving person. I trust there was a time when he, alongside his colleagues and peers, was earnestly striving to improve the company. He probably just lost sight of himself and couldn't stop his mistakes. In such a world, it's perhaps my true hope that this is the case. Let's revert the strategy that was credited to White back to the original creator's name and implement it. Also, for those who were forced to resign because of him, I'd like to offer reemployment and ensure that our current employees receive proper mental care. Yes, I understand. A new project team has formed, driven by creators who had lost their motivation due to having their achievements stolen by White. Now, the employees' morale is surging forward again. This company still has great potential to grow. From now on, I plan to engage more directly with the executives, employees, and subordinates currently with us, and aim for growth not just in the Japan branch, but across the entire company. President Gary is an incredible person. I respect him deeply. Moving forward, I will also engage more closely with our staff and strive to improve the company, emulating President Gary in fulfilling my duties. With White's issue resolved, the Japan branch should now be secure. I believe the days of employees living in fear are gone, and the Japan branch will become a lively and bright workplace. With this belief, I once again left Japan, grateful and proud to play a part in this company. I am committed to diligently fulfilling the tasks at hand. With this resolution, I continue to lead a busy life, not just in Germany, but spanning the globe.